Work. Oh, sorry. Hi. I was on the black screen
Man, yeah,
for a couple of seconds. I apologize.
yeah.
Uh,
Been drinking rum and coke for 2 weeks straight while preparing for the streams.
I'm on my I'm on my 80th solo cup. I'm not. I'm not. We're not.
Not it's yeah, yeah. It's like you're only it's like I can't just have one solo cup because then he's lonely. I
Hmm.
gotta give him friends. We call them
Yeah.
solo cups, right?
Yeah. Why have I got a? Why do I have a? Why do I have a video that says Arc? Oh, it's because of the video in the background. The loop of the Wild Rune, the anomaly, the electric boogaloo. Right. Oh man, let's get into it. It's Ryan and
Victor's
it's
right testicle.
it's,
Uh,
it's Duncan. It's Ryan. That's the order as it appears on the camera. It's our arcane impressions of Act 3 and the season as a whole. Let's get into it.
it sure
Word,
is.
word of
Are
my.
we? Is this gonna be combined like?
I think we
Uh,
can. I think we can
Because like,
combine.
are we coming back to this to do like a final thoughts like in retrospect thing, or is this it? Like, what's
I
what's the plan here?
I would plan to say this is it. We can. We'll finally learn how to do our like 3 episodes of the act within our 90 minutes that we suggest, and then we'll give it a little bit of extra to then just see where we are on the show as a whole. And my word of the act: devastation.
Hmm.
Now,
Uh, mine's hard to put into terms for two reasons. One, you can't put it in title because it's the word fuck. But it's not just the word fuck. Have you either A, watched the Netflix Witcher shows, or B, at least seen a clip of um
of Henry Cavill just
what
like
of Hamilton
looking,
saying looking down and going fuck,
fuck.
because that's exactly how I felt
Mm.
uh after watching
God, I
the
mean,
last act of Arcane. I was just kind of like fuck.
yeah. I mean, personally for me, I said, and I've said all through this, with the pacing that the second series was going, I asked the question, could they stick the landing? Now, they stuck a landing. They
It
did.
ended.
They did. They
It
did what they
it
said it
is
was
it
going to
is
do.
a finale which, in no uncertain terms, does in fact conclude all outstanding storylines.
Mm-hmm.
That is, all of the things I just said are true.
Yes.
You'll notice there are no qualitative words within that sentence. That is a purely objective statement.
Mm.
It's when we add the flavor of to what degree and how good and to what level of satisfaction they did all these things. Ah, now here's where the spicy,
The
meat and
spicy
potatoes. Why would you add
meatballs
spicy
of
meat?
the.
The spicy meatballs of assessing this
Yeah. I.
act.
While I'm doing this, I need to try and find, because I desperately tried to find Christian Link's big post in a reply to something that had happened afterwards. I think I'd said last time we talked about it, there was this Netflix companion show on their YouTube called The Afterglow, and it basically contained Haley Steinfeld, Ella Purnell, and Christian Link, Alex Yee, and for a couple of episodes they threw the voice of Echo in, Reed Shannon, and discussed, we had questions from the producers, and something had come up right at the end that they talked about, like the ending, spoilers, the Jace Victor ending, and how they just
Yeah.
out of the universe, and
Uh,
and Link said at that point, I feel that we got to a satisfying ending. If we had more time, I would have done more. And we've talked
if
about for the
we
past
had
couple of
more
weeks.
time. Interesting.
Yeah, we've talked on the past couple of weeks about this conflict of news reports regarding the initial length of Arcane as described by Riot, and the investigative story from Variety magazine and Variety the website of this argument of whether this was planned to be a 5-season show a 2-season show, or as we could probably feel on this, and what it should have been, a 3-season show.
At the very least.
Mm.
At the very least, you could have, and frankly, there was no good reason, barring budget, to not stretch this out into 4 or 5 seasons, because there's so much shit you could have done with this, and there's so much, more investment you could have gotten out of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
But, for the actual, quantity of content that we got, purely just on the face of it, this is easily 3 seasons worth of content that they have, in no uncertain terms, forcibly crammed into 2. Because, for whatever reason, they were told that they had to do that. There's no way you can convince me that this was always meant to be like this.
Yeah, and this is...
There's such a stark contrast between the pacing of Season 1, which was already, very stop and go. Sometimes it was very lacely paced, very slow, very character-driven. And then there are times where just kind of okay, we're going to skip over that bit, and we're going to montage this bit, and we're going to skip over that bit. They did that plenty of times in Act 1, but it was less invasive, it was less noticeable, and it was a little bit more appropriate.
And when it did,
Season
it progressed
2,
the story. That was...
Yes. And now in Season 2,
yeah,
very different story.
Yeah. We've said, and we're not being controversial and saying something different to the rest of the world on this. Okay, we may have said, and wrongly, to a point, said that Season 1 felt rushed. No. If we look at this in comparison to Season 2, the pacing was just there. There's bits, and we'll sort of get to it. Let's just say Act 3 sort of decided it wanted to get to the Marvel-style action piece at the end, and I like Marvel-style action pieces. It didn't need to get there.
Some of them.
It didn't need to get there too quickly.
Depends on the context, but
yeah. Should we talk about what I'd say is the best episode of the season, and probably the best episode of the... Okay, not uncontroversially to me, I feel that episode 7.
Starting small. Start very narrow and small. Best episode of the act with very little effort. Comfortably the best of the 3.
Yeah.
Mostly because it's very focused. Mm-hmm. There's not a whole lot of bullshit going on. It's just characters doing character stuff.
And I feel that the rest of the show could have been like that. Frustration. Anyway.
Best of the season? I'm inclined to agree. I can't really think of any really standout episodes. I'm gonna go, oh yeah, that one. Watch out for that one. No, that's probably the best one of this season.
Best of the show. I may be blowing a little bit too much smoke up its backside, but
I can't remember the exact numbers. I know episode 1 was fairly solid. I liked episode 1. Mm-hmm. The opening scene in particular is still my favorite scene in the whole show.
Yeah,
just the quality of storytelling, the masterclass in tone setting and mood and atmosphere creating in that 5 minutes of no dialogue.
Yeah, actually, the whole bridge sequence. Actually, no, you're right. Oh, Ryan.
And whatever episode it was where Heimerdinger originally got kicked off the council, I seem to recall that being a really standout one as well. That
would have been episode 6, Act 2, episode 6, season 1. Yeah, because then
I like that one a lot as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean. Okay, like I say, maybe a bit too much on the scene. It's a very strong episode, though, and of the act.
It is the only episode that is within striking distance of what we got on a more consistent basis in season 1.
Character-driven drama, and a little bit of slowdown. Doesn't need to be full of massive bits of action. In fact, let's be honest, there wasn't, was there? There was no massive action. There was a chase sequence where Jace. In Terminator world, where the biggest thing happens is he gets chased by some of what we later learn is Victor evolved humans, and then falls in a
humans in large air quotes there.
Yeah, mechanical Megatron's even a dead baby, which is not. Again, Riot doesn't hold off. If they want to show you something, they're going to show it to you, however uncomfortable they feel it is. To the point that I wasn't allowed to. I mean, Duncan suggested I shouldn't use the picture that I said I was going to use for this episode.
I certainly think that will get age restricted at the bare minimum.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not going to show it. So
all right, well, there goes that. Any revenue we may have generated on this at one time, not that we ever would have, because we don't get enough views for that. No. But it's gone.
It's adult warning on there. Is this safe for kids? No. But yeah.
So yeah, episode 7.
Yeah. What was it called? Let's pretend it was like the first time.
Pretend it's like the first time.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll say this: Christian Link and Alex Shee did say that the reason Jace went all uber heel at the end of Act 2 would be explained in detail in Act 3, and they were right.
Yeah, I'd say there were. It was a little funny talking about Jace, because like when you first see Jace jump back out of the thing, he's got the scraggly beard, his hammer's all fucked up, he looks like shit.
He's got a knee brace because.
Oh man. I was like, oh man, this guy's gone through hell. Like, where did he go? Like some kind of like weird apocalyptic alternate world where he had to like fight off hordes of magical monsters
and lick the walls to survive.
Unspeakable truths. Well, yeah, it's like you think all these things, and he fell. That's the reason he's got a beard and a leg brace. He fell. He fell and couldn't. He fell over.
He fell and couldn't get back up.
He broke his own leg with his own stupid hammer.
It's like
spent like 5 weeks at the bottom of a ravine.
It's like a crime in Hot Fuzz. It's a crime in Stanford. Jace Tallis tripped and fell on his own hammer.
Yeah.
But
like it actually happened, as opposed to like that's just like the excuse they use.
Yeah. But in comparison to Echo, who basically was in an episode of Quantum Leap. It's not that the weird thing on this is like
he got sent to the good ending.
Yeah, Echo got sent. Well, his soul got sent through time and just jumped into the form of Echo from a much better zone.
Yeah, like I said, it's the good ending. It's very different. You can tell it's the good ending because there's sunlight. Like you can see everything.
Yeah, Zon's great. Everyone's all happy. Milo and Clagger are working on their plants that they've managed to use to make sure Zon's all great. Vander's still going and he's alive. And
was his name Enzo?
Benzo. Benzo is alive as well.
Benzo, that's it.
Yeah, but guess who is also alive? Powder. Not Jinx.
Powder. Yeah.
And Echo freaks out because,
Well, yeah.
I can absolutely understandable, considering the last time he saw Jinx, she tried to blow the pair of them up on a bridge.
Yeah, these things happen. And don't even remind me of that. How the hell did either of those people survive that? Plot armor, which in the back half of season 1. God, let me tell you, I'm not over it. I'm not over it. You can't make me be over it.
Saved by canon.
No, I'm an adult. You can't tell me what to do. That's just how it is.
They lived, and that was how it was going to happen. Anyway, So no, I like this. I like this world. I like this sort of alternate universe. What could have been thing. And and well done. You know what? They got me. Here's the fishing line. Here's the plot line. Here's Ryan. Hi.
And obviously, basically the idea is that it's supposed to be like, he's popped into another universe, and this is the one where things went well. Politics went nicely. Science has, brought Zon out of, brought the poverty line up a little bit, so that people aren't, things aren't all shit. And,
Piltover is actively working with them. They're actively working with each other. It's just they're not even. I'd hesitate to even actually still call it Zorn at this point. It is probably Piltover, but
It's just all built over all day long.
all Piltover all the time.
It's all built over all the way down.
Welcome to WPI Till Radio. And all it took.
Silco's there. He's chilling out.
Yeah, he and Vander are forgiven, and they're all fine. All it took was for someone else to be the person who died in the lead up through Arcane. All it took was Vi. That one piece that happened caused
Not gonna lie, kind of worth it.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, kind of worth it.
Okay.
I've had up and down feelings about Vi throughout season 1, and I've continued to have up and down feelings about Vi throughout season 2. And by the end of this season, let me tell you,
to be fair, Vi had
without.
yeah,
really
Vi. To be fair, Vi had up and down feelings, but we'll leave that for episode 8.
So Vi is dead in this timeline.
Yeah, Vi is dead, and
everyone else is fine.
Yeah, so that basically means
Clagger's back.
Clagger and Milo. Who are they? An item?
Okay, I don't think so. I think they're just good because they actually do like a little bit of a wingman situation. Like Clagger, like kind of like nudges Milo towards like a girl he's checking out. So like I get where you're coming from.
Milo with the biggest 70s porno stash you could ever have, by the way, as well. Just he wore that. He wore that tash.
But yeah, no, not an item.
Not an item. Just
good
the
friends.
actual just good friends of the show. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, but it changed everyone. Marcus was not an absolute dickhead. Like they show, because they show the scene, they reuse Powder's Vi screaming lines from episode 3, Act 1, but in a much different context. Because basically, Vi eats it with a shard of Hextech crystal in the heist. That's the change. That's the branching path. So it leads. Basically, Hextech isn't a thing because you assume Jace is just gone, probably just jailed and arrested forever for his research not only being illegal but killing a child.
These things happen.
So Marcus actually looks at it, and rather than being the absolute uber dickhead, who you can kind of feel for that he got involved with the wrong people, but still an uber dickhead nonetheless, to a guy who looks horrified at what's happened. So none of that Piltover shit happens, which then means...
Whatever happened to the other lady, though? Like, because there was another lady who was like the head of the Foresters.
Grayson.
Her spot.
Yeah, Grayson.
Was she not relevant? Like, would she not still be in charge? Because she got killed by Silco.
Yeah, you'd think so. But I mean, at that point, it would have just been Marcus and it would have just been Marcus and unnamed enforcer just inspecting the scene.
Maybe she's retired.
Maybe, but at this point, then also Caitlyn's not around because, well, what is there to aspire to? There's no crime running rampant through the city. She's was Jace's friend.
Busy living her noble life.
Yeah, probably just on the council at this point. Her and
I've been meaning to ask: is the council hereditary, or are they like elected officials? Like, do you pass your position through your family, or do people have to like come in for like a by-election every few years?
It's weird. It's like this sort of feudal lord system, isn't it? It's just like, if you've got the influence,
right? Like, is that really like significantly different from just having a king with a bunch of advisors? Like, really?
Probably not.
I don't know. I don't think they really go into the political structure.
No, it's just
there's some people who are important and they vote on things.
Yeah, and they vote for their own interests. That's
yes. Well, so
really.
They vote.
True. Sorry, democracy.
But It's the
Yeah,
best we got, unfortunately.
yeah. So this
Yeah,
this all
where
happens.
does that leave us?
Echo finds out, he's just got there, and Heimerdinger hasn't. Heimerdinger has been there for 3 years and has basically decided to stop the scientific pursuit and go for a more creative endeavor and be a busker.
So there you go about Heimerdinger. He's been here for 3 years already,
Mm-hmm.
and if knowing everything you know about Heimerdinger, he's what would you expect him to do with a 3-year head start on Echo? Would you expect him to get involved with politics at Piltover and work to make Zon and Piltover the best thing ever? B, attempt to recreate Hextech out of necessity to get back home and fix his own timeline? Or C, invent the electric banjo and become a traveling folk singer?
If you said C, bullshit, and congratulations.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's fucking funny.
Yeah, I mean,
Fucking funny.
I guess, yeah, it's...
I mean, actually, knowing that, obviously Heimerdinger's maintained his memories of everything going on stuff, it would actually be peak Heimerdinger. That is actually something he would. Now that I think about it, it's something he would do. Just this patience. I mean, especially when the guy has no concept of time. He doesn't, and he says that. He's told that by many characters. Like, oh no, within a few decades, everything will be fine. It's like, we don't have decades. Life of a Mayfly, all that business. So it all comes to it. But yeah, electric banjo, and he is Piltover's and Zorn's greatest bard. He'll be forever known as that. So when you're ready for the remake, Riot, yes, we will take Heimerdinger as instead of a crazed inventor, we will take him as a crazed bard. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting call for his character to just decide that it's like, fuck it. I mean, I might as well just stay here.
Yeah.
It's like you would think that somebody who is making Piltover the best thing there is and trying to fix it is like the reason I exist. You'd think he'd be like really dedicated to like.
But then again, I could also picture Heimerdinger looking at the situation he's in, seeing the world around him at this point and going, what is there for me to fix?
Well, that's the thing. Like, he shouldn't be thinking about that. He should be thinking like Echo. He should be thinking like, okay, well, this world's great. Mine's not. The one I came from. I need to go and do something about that. That's what I was doing in the first place.
Yeah.
So, I need to figure out absolutely anything I can to get back there.
Yeah. I can, I see it. But like I say, that just like Heimerdinger's just gone sort of kooky to the point where this has just sort of happened. And yeah, once Echo arrives and once Echo pleads his case, he's on board.
Yeah, no, he gets on it.
Mm.
And I grant that, but it's like it would be more interesting for him to use his infinite, near immortal patience to be like, oh yeah, you finally got here. All right, well let's get on it then. Up 2, let's go invent Hextech. It's just like, how long have you been here? It's like, 3 years, no big deal. Anyway, you got any ideas?
And Echo's
I think
like,
that would have just made more sense because it's like I don't see him giving up and then coming back. That doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, and then for what it's worth on Echo's side, when Heimerdinger basically tells him, I've been here for 3 years, maybe just enjoy the time you've got here, lad. And Echo's like, fuck no.
And I get that. Like, I'm totally okay with him, like, basically making the best of it while he's waiting for that opportunity to arise. Like, it's like, I'll be the best person I can along the way. Meanwhile, my ultimate goal is still, I need to go home and fix all the broken stuff.
Fair.
Prevent the apocalypse that I presume is going to be coming shortly to everyone that I know and love. Not these, copy-pasted fake versions of them.
Not this nice universe that's got their shit together. And so, yeah, I mean, the way that Echo figures it out is that basically he just can't get over the fact that he's speaking to Powder, not Jinx. makes a joke at Vi's expense, realizes that Vi is dead, and then because the raid failed, then inspects the build at Jake's apartment, finds a shard of hex core or hextech crystal, and goes, "We can do something with this."
Crystal blue persuasion.
And
Yeah,
they do the thing. They make the famous Z drive.
They do, and man, I will say, talking about Echo, this lad does not really get the whole like alternate universes thing at all. Like constantly, he's like, "Oh my god, that person's dead, and weren't you evil? And didn't you try to kill him? And aren't you?" It's like, how are you alive?
And stay away from me, possible? You psycho.
Yeah, and he does this like every 5 seconds. Like, my guy, just try to blend in. Like, it's very obvious you don't have the same. You're not dressed the same you as you were when you went to sleep. Okay, things have gone a little bit sideways.
And I will say again, best episode of this act, worst episode of Quantum Leap. Because at least the guy in Quantum Leap realised he'd leapt into someone else's body. But we get there, we're learning about how to create the Z drive. We learn the limit, which is 4 seconds, which is in, they did the thing. It's in line with the length of rewind he gets back in his ultimate.
Yeah.
And it works. All it costs is Heimerdinger's head. Yodel jam.
If he goes further than that,
things around him.
Further, it kind of unravels everything.
Yeah.
It gooifies the immediate area.
Yeah. You don't see Heimerdinger's head explode, but you see the result of the head exploding in a shot, and then when Echo tells Powder and Heimerdinger, it is 4 seconds, trust me, he wipes a bit of Heimerdinger's gibs off, because what they have added into this is that Echo is directly affected by anything that happens while he's rewinding. That's slightly different from his kind of slightly different. I mean,
there's an argument to be made that that's like the exact opposite of how his ability is supposed to work. Because in game, the whole point about the rewinding is that he goes back to whatever state of health he was in before the rewind.
Yeah, but then also if anyone in like his circle when he does sort of rewind takes damage, so that's sort of how that thing's. But 4, I did like this. The whole 4 second thing does work because there's this pretty, again, say what you want about these sort of music video-y sort of bits. This one isn't a music video. This is music that is played in the middle of a club scene in any character drama that you would find, which is Echo and Powder having a prom dance.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's not not in so many words. Like they're not literally at the prom, but it's kind of like some other like.
It's an inventors fair, isn't it?
Inventors convention.
Yeah.
Convention.
But they have a dance, and Fortiche bring out this unique animation style, with this one being very small frame rate. Thingy. Frame rate.
This is the part of the video where everybody thought their internet connection was tanking. So
and except it wasn't, and it was intentional, because I would want to ask you a question. What frame rate was that dance scene? If you were to guess in FPS, how many?
At least 2.
At least 2? Oh, well, double it. It was 4. Hello, intentional. 4 frames a second. Echo.
Oh, like that's okay. There you go, creative.
Intentional creative design, and you know what? That's fine. I liked it. I thought it was just one of their. It was just Fortiche flexing again. You know, like they've been want to do the entire fucking show.
I like little subtle bits like that. That's always nice. They also, one thing about this song that I think is kind of amusing is that it's all like, as far as I can tell, it's all like French.
I believe it is,
which is
Belgian.
interesting. Oh, Belgian. Wasn't Belgian?
Well, like the
Doesn't Belgian speak
rapper
French?
who did it was Belgian.
Is Belgian a language, or do
I
Belgians
believe it
just
in
speak French? I don't.
well, he's Belgian nationality, which I believe is like you say French. You know what? Ryan, shut up. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I believe it's French because he's Belgian.
But anyway,
Therefore,
it's like I just thought it was kind of funny because it's like it makes the French language canon to the Arcane universe, which is just amuses me. I don't really the logistics of that are kind of funny. I get good news for House Laurent, I guess.
yeah. So this
Fiora
one,
canon.
so this one was sung by Stromae. That's his name, and I believe what's it translated to?
Stroke me? What?
Stromae, Stromae, Stromae. The song is called My Meilleur Ennemi, which is my best enemy, which I guess makes sense at that point because, you know, he's definitely wants to. This is the relationship he could have had with Powder. And,
Yeah.
And no, he just sort of has to go back to Jinx at that point, and you know, that all happens. That's the Echo world, because they eventually managed to. Heimerdinger decides he's just going to give of course, Heimerdinger would upgrade the Z drive to turn it into a giant ass Z portal. Not without the cost of his life, though. Possibly, maybe. Plot armor has been removed for the last act of Arcane.
Yeah, the shackles are finally off, and
characters will no longer be saved by canon.
In order to allow old Echo to get back to his time, you know, Heimerdinger has to jump out of the portal and fix some shit, and
just goes poof.
And I was confused by that for a second because at first I didn't register, like I just thought he just kind of got sucked into the future, or went somewhere else maybe. No, he's gone, dead.
Yeah, just gone. Maybe, as people have guessed,
as Thanos would say, you know, gone, reduced to atoms.
As people have said, he theorized he's just respawned back at Bandle City. But even then, at that point, will have respawned back to the Bandle City in that universe. So still would be out of the Arcane canon and the Prime Universe canon at this point. And Powder and Echo of that timeline get back together, and that's all fine. Jace has hell. There's nothing more to say. Like we said, you know, that most of the episode, a predominant amount of the episode, explains where Echo was.
Yeah, Echo just got to enjoy like the best week of his life, like pretty much since the show started.
Yeah.
Jace
followed he followed the ghost of Arcane Future. Basically.
Yeah.
He follows the mysterious mage through the hellscape that is a world where Victor succeeds with whatever he does.
Was there any point during your viewing experience where you were not at least 90% aware that was just Victor the entire time? I was very confident that was Victor for most of that.
I mean, given the fact, the main fact on this, Rise, characterized in League of Legends lore, is blue. He's blue, and he does have some skins where he does look.
He is a blue man.
Yeah, there are some points where, you know, some skins where Rise is characterized as having fleshy skin. The you know, flesh-coloured skin of, you know, a human being in quite a lot of his skins, but generally he's blue/purple and full of runes all over himself. There may have been a little bit of I don't know if it was like poor animation. I don't want to say poor animation because Fortitude did good. Maybe it was missed animation or retconning, but the mage, and later to be found as Victor, shocker, didn't have the runes like tattoos on his fingers that the mage that gave Jace the tear, or like the crystal, had in season 1. So I don't know if it was something that was missed or whatnot, but it doesn't really change much anyway. They had a plan. They went through with their plan. Um, And yeah, like we said before, like in the beginning, so what Jace did was ran away from a couple of like robots, fell down a cliff, broke his knee to his own hammer.
Yeah, he ran away from a bunch of Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics. Fell down a cliff, broke his own leg with his own hammer. Spent like 5 weeks at the bottom of a ravine, drinking rainwater and eating weird magic goo.
Yeah, and basically gets corrupted by sort of the anomaly at that point. His hammer starts, doing things. He leaves the hammer though, doesn't he? And just starts climbing up.
Yeah, he literally pulls it apart to make his leg brace, and then just leaves the rest of it behind.
And then climbs up the Hexgate Tower, and gets to the top, sees, Five Nights at Freddy version of himself, Funtime Jace, and no, it wouldn't be Funtime Jace. Would it be Nightmare Jace?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and then meets the mysterious mage, and he starts questioning, "What shall I do? Why did you bring me here?" Whatever. At this point, the ghost of Arcane's future rubs a tombstone and says, "Ebenezer Jace." No, he doesn't. But he doesn't speak. It's a one-sided conversation. Jace understands what needs to be done, and he thumps back to the Arcane timeline, and goes on with his business. Does his thing. Makes a watermelon out of Cello's head. We've lost a Duncan.
I don't know what happened. Don't know what that was about.
Yeah, that was weird, because I definitely saw you seeing me, and then it just went off. It didn't look like you had a thing, but
I think my internet might have just shit itself for a second.
Oh god. So yeah, we better move on to then episode 8, titled.
Yep. Killing is a cycle.
That's the one. So yeah, no, we skip a bit of time after Isha does her sacrifice. She exploded everyone and is never mentioned again. You would think with, for as small as the emotional support orphan was in the greater scope of Arcane, you'd think her doing something like that would have been mentioned a bit more. But it wasn't. What we basically have is Jinx sort of went crazy around all the stuff. Like, they resolved their battle against the Noxan forces there, and Jinx just surrendered.
Yeah, apparently.
She just lost all spark and surrendered and got captured. Apparently Caitlyn...
So, okay, and now I have to wonder, okay, so, the story is Jinx, essentially surrendered herself to the Enforcers, because it has to be the Enforcers, because they're under Caitlyn's custody.
Yeah. Where
did the Enforcers come from, and also, how did they get past the army of Noxians in and out without an interruption? How did they not intersect during that scuffle?
Great question. As we continue on with the episode,
so anyway,
and this.
Oh no! Anyway.
These are the little problems. These are the pacing problems that stopped Arcane having the epic landing and had a quite satisfying to a point landing. And
there was another thing that got pointed out to me too, that this is more relevant to the end of Act 2 that brought us to this point in the first place. And if I had pointed out to me by one guy that the whole sacrifice was not even meaningful or important in the first place, because if we're at the point now where things have gone so much to shit that we're giving up on Warwick/Vander, shooting him is what we're doing now to
that's
stop him,
the mercy
or put him
to
out of
stop
misery or
him,
whatever. we could just like not. We could just like leave. Like we could just let him, let it, let the Noxians like let this all resolve,
Mm.
and we don't have to die. We don't have to kill ourselves. We don't even have to shoot him. He'll either survive, and we'll deal with that when we deal with that, or
Mm-hmm.
he'll die. We didn't need to shoot him in the face and kill ourselves and blow up a bunch of people in the
No.
first place. An entirely worthless sacrifice to begin with.
Yeah, and that was, like you say, that was sort of the problem at the end of it there, and then to go on it to then not mention Isha's name again as if she was like a figment of Jinx's imagination. That that doesn't work. Just a mention. Like they all saw her do it. They all saw her do it. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, and it's at the point
even
where it's like
Ambessa
where you're
saw
not
her do
even
it, for
like.
God's sake.
Yeah, it's like we're at a point now where because of that, we're not even like entirely sure if like what Powder / Jinx valued more or mourns more, the loss of Vander and her father figure or her new adopted sister. Like
Yeah.
we're not really even sure what has like we can presume that it's a combination of the two, but it's like we can't even say for sure like what it is that has put her over the edge in particular. You know,
Yeah.
she just is now.
And that's the thing. And it's just I don't know, it's not egregious. It's still a misstep, but it's a misstep that shouldn't have really needed to be there because everything else in comparison is strong to it. I mean, this leads to like the ultimate pacing, the ultimate egregious pacing issue that starts coming up on this. Ambessa buries Rictus, and she's decided, fuck this. I've tried to do the sneaky way. I've tried to do the diplomatic way. No, I've got the forces. I've got the army. I've got Rictus's anti-magic runes. Piltover's just gone. It's going. It's it's going to get destroyed, and no one is going to stop me. And to Singed point, who then just walks in off camera, just like, may I have a suggestion? It's basically, well, we still have the corpse of my weapon. We now also have the corpse of the man who can give us everything we want and
Victor,
everything
who
you
is
want.
essentially Dr. Manhattan at this point,
Yeah.
like for all intents and purposes, like he is like almost fully detached from his body at this point, to the point where he's just a ghost that can inhabit any body that he's ever touched, essentially.
Yeah. And basically then just goes into a giant fleshy purple egg.
Yeah.
Egg.
Poor Singe. I feel like I liked Singe so much, and I had so much hopes for like resolution on his character, and
What do you mean?
this
He
is, like,
gets
basically his
absolutely
last
everything he
scene.
wanted.
I mean, he does, but it's like it would be nice to like have seen that. It just kind of happens. Like it don't like you can't deny it takes place off screen. Like it does not. We do not see it happen. It's just,
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Singe...
like for all intents and purposes, this is Singe's last scene.
Yeah, isn't it? This is his last episode, really, fully, of him actually having any actions. The consequences you find at the end of Act 3 in the epilogue. Yeah, I get where you're at on that. But yeah, he basically just turns around and says, well, let's just do another one of those weird blood transfusion things. We have no such thing as blood types here in Runeterra. Just mix all the blood up and everything will be fine.
If any character in League of Legends can just bypass the entire concept of blood types for the sake of science, it'd probably be Singed.
Yeah, that is true. Mister throw shimmer at the wall and
He
see what sticks.
probably figured out how to work around that in like his third experiment.
Yeah. But then that's happening on that side, and basically Ambessa's arc at that point is make me an army, and Singed goes okay, and does. The tune.
Victor says, "Sure,
Yeah, Victor says if this
It's
helps
like,
me,
yeah, I'll make you an army.
you get me to the hex core, or you get me to the Hexgate Tower or whatever it is. Deal. And Ambessa stupidly goes, deal. We'll say stupidly later. For later. Other plot point
But,
at this point. Sorry, go on.
And to that point, like, let's be honest, like, Victor's essentially just playing her at this point. He really doesn't even need her anymore.
No.
He's just kind of like path of least resistance. Like, this is the most efficient way for me to do the thing that I have now decided that I'm going to do, which we can talk about that decision making later.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be honest. His decision is to upgrade everybody. That's okay. Just sort of how it works. What's the other plot point on this? Oh, Mel returns.
Thousands of miles. Oh yeah, Mel also disapparates. So no, we do jump back into Piltover for Pig because this is where Vi wakes up and is all angry.
Yeah, all angry. Demands to know where Jinx is. Caitlyn tells her, "Look, I can't do anything. I can't do anything. She is being captured and imprisoned. There is nothing I can do. You know, as the leader of the Enforcers, there is absolutely nothing. As
the leader of the Enforcers and also the temporary, autocratic, authoritarian leader of Piltover.
Oh yeah, because there is
absolute control over everything. I absolutely cannot let Jinx out unless I really, really want to, and I kind of really, really don't want to because she kind of really, really sucks.
She did,
but I'm not going to say that part out loud.
She did kill Mummy Dearest after all. Yeah, at this point, there is only one surviving. To what Piltover understands, there is only one surviving council member at this point, isn't there? Clockwork Woman.
As far as I know, Jinx is dead, and Heimer's dead, and and it's just the lady with the eye.
Yeah.
That's
by the way, I completely forgot that.
And she's not even in charge. Like, that's public knowledge. She's not even like a boss, really.
Yeah, she's just a person. I completely forgot, by the way, that Ambessa killing Amara, I think it was, in her ship, when she found out she was a Black Rose agent. I forgot she was a member of the council. She wasn't just a merchant. Yeah, she's the merchant member of the council. And was a Black Rose agent all along. But
many conversations about the Black Rose to be had at the end of this.
That's why I was like, that's why I was like, sort of going on to that. But yeah, so in this arc, Caitlyn goes down to speak to, basically, well, what's left of Jinx. Just a bunch of blue hair with a scraggly body underneath of it. And basically, just Jinx basically goes, "Leave me the fuck alone, let me rot." And Caitlyn's like, "I will, but not before me saying, I'm so angry with you. I'm so angry with you. I'm tired of being angry with you anymore. I just want to stop." And Jinx just turns around and goes, "I'm sorry."
She didn't really say something.
I mean,
sorry.
She didn't say sorry as much as
apologize without apologizing, kind of thing.
Yeah, she basically said, she goes along the lines of saying, "I didn't know your mother was there."
Yeah, but she also says it wouldn't have mattered. Like, it probably wouldn't have changed my decision making.
Yeah, I still would have done what I did.
I acknowledge that as a thing that I did.
Yeah, I did a bad to you. Oh, I did a bad that affected you. That's.
Yeah.
I can see that with Jinx. It's just like, I'm sorry for affecting you. I'm not sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for affecting you.
Sure.
And that's enough. That's enough to make Caitlyn fudge the rules on guard patrols.
Oh, there was some fudging, all right.
No. I didn't mean with
this is that episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Scenes later. Okay. No.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the most. Are we in agreement that that's probably the most controversial scene in the series?
Which is weird because it's also the scene that everyone wanted. And to get me right, no,
real
people
monkey's
wanted
paw
it.
Moment.
Right, I need to be honest on this. People wanted it. Where it was placed is the controversy.
Yes, that's correct.
So
And
let's
where it's placed is
so,
the
le-
controversy.
so let's get to that scene then. We'll come back to Mel in a second because she literally has 2 seconds.
Okay, do we want to jump ahead or do we want to talk about the attack first?
The attack.
Because that happens first. I'm just doing things. I got Netflix open. I'm just doing things chronologically. After this scene ends, this is where Mel shows back up and Victor, makes his appearance.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. He brings one of his upgrade soldiers into the council chamber, doesn't he? And so to get to Mel at that point, we do need to like rewind just slightly because Mel has a conversation with credited as illusory sorcerer. It's LeBlanc.
Yeah,
It's LeBlanc. We all know it's fucking LeBlanc. Don't be coy with us. It's LeBlanc.
I mean, do we know anything about the Black Rose, or do we glean any tactile information?
It's just because of what it's only because of what Mel says and what the sorcerer says that would lead us to believe that it is LeBlanc. Just the sort of like
fucking.
I know there's like some but all right, okay, but I mean if it turns out, if we get to this Noxus show and it turns out that it is not LeBlanc, I will eat a hat. I will deep fry a hat and eat it.
Did this character not violently explode in another dimension at the very end of this show, or did something else happen?
I think something else
happened. It looked to me like she violently exploded to me. I don't know. I guess we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mel's back. She's trying to kill her mom or something. I don't know. She's sent on a mission to be like, "Hey, go kill your mom" or some shit. That'd be funny.
Yeah, she's basically agree with me, and you walk free. All you need to do is deliver your mother to me. And Mel goes with a locket that basically contains the soul of the illusory sorcerer. And comes to the council chamber. Has a talk with Jace.
Oh my god.
At which
Don't you hate it when you have a chamber?
Yeah, which Victor's herald, which makes him the herald's herald, sort of just turns up and they have a fight that they almost lose.
Between the two of them.
Yeah.
So it really puts it into perspective, okay, here's a person with magic and a person who's a legitimately good fighter and also very physically fit. And they barely win a fight against one of Victor's drones.
Yeah,
so it really puts it into perspective. Oh yeah, if they have an army of these bastards, they're fucked.
Oh yeah. Yes, they are. Speaking of fucked,
yeah. So basically, Mel and Jace, they basically just have the content of the conversation is I'm different now, and then the person goes I'm different now, and then they go we're different now, let's deal with it, and then they get attacked, and that's pretty much the whole scene.
Yeah, and that sort of happens, and it's like, oh, we're different now, and we need to speak to people to settle our differences now. So Caitlin, Jinx does a super secret mission to free Jinx. Vi does a super secret mission. It was less Mission Impossible and more Mission Impossible to fail. Because she lets Jinx out. Oh, who had a hallucination of Silco. And basically just said, you need to break the cycle of violence. That's the only way this stops, is to break the cycle of violence. And Jinx goes, okay.
Yeah, it's crazy how diseased brains you think weird things are being said to you.
Yeah. But she goes, I'll break the cycle of violence. I will show you how I break the cycle of violence, or how I'm going to attempt to do it, at the beginning of episode 9. But she basically locks Jinx up in... Jinx, fuck!
It's very important that we get down to the wording of this, because, it's very specific the way she phrases this, She says, there is no good version of me. You don't have to worry about me anymore. And then that's how she departs.
And slinks backwards into the shadows.
So, pro tip: when you have a mentally unwell person in your life,
oh boy, here we go,
who's had issues, and all of a sudden they seem like they've like suddenly just figured out things, and they say things like, "Oh, I'm not worried about that anymore," or "You don't have to worry about me anymore. I'm fine. I'm good." When they do things like that, Ryan, could you please explain to them what the number one thing you don't immediately go and do is?
Bone your missus.
So here we are now. Smells like Nirvana. We get to the point where Jinx eventually, or not Jinx,
Vi.
Valen finds Vi in the locked up in the cupboard here.
Yep.
And lets her out. Basically says, "Yeah, I did this on purpose."
Yeah, I let you have your talk. This was intentional. I knew you were going to try and break her out. I let you break her out. I figured she'd do this to you as well. Because Caitlyn is logical. We've seen that happen.
And so, you know, what Vi obviously does and says, "Look, Kate, I really appreciate it. You're the best thing that's happened to me in a long time, and I really feel like I can trust you. But right now, I need to go see my sister. She was saying some really sketchy shit last time I saw her, and I need to make sure she's okay. She's the most important thing in my life right now, and this is the last chance possibly I'm ever gonna have to get her back. So, actually, if you can give me like an escort to help me go find her, like that would actually be like super pog. But I need to go right now." That's exactly what she does, right?
No.
That's how the scene plays out. No, isn't it?
No.
Did I watch the wrong show?
She gets emotional, and Caitlyn explodes that emotion by just going, "You know what? Do you want a hug?" And Vi goes, "Let's do more than hug." But this is, to be honest, a lot of the crowd when this started happening, and they have sex, they do. It just happens. No best friends here.
That is what happens.
They weren't just taking off their clothes because they were wet or problematic. They didn't fumble unclipping or unzipping Caitlyn's skirt. They just went straight into it, even to the point that Caitlyn tries to go. This is how they resolve the Maddie problem. So I may have had I don't fucking care. Continue sex. Let's be honest. The crowd, there was just so many Kate Vi shippers at that point, roaring in the air. It's that one meme where there's the TV screen in the pub, and then something happens, and they all just go yeah, and everything flies everywhere. It's been memed everywhere. It's like my most famous one of that I think is seeing the DVD logo bounce across the screen, and once it bounced and hit a certain colour, they threw their beers everywhere. But that all happened. And then people sat down and took stock and thought and went, was this the best time?
Minute. It's like, they take a moment and thought, oh, wait a minute, isn't this awful? Isn't this a disaster? Isn't this doesn't this totally fuck both of these characters like permanently? In terms of like, because it kind of does.
Yeah. To think at this point, they've characterized through this episode of Jinx having some form of redemption arc, and even getting on side, even letting bygones be bygones with Caitlyn for enough to try and save her adoptive father, who's rampaging everywhere. And Vi and Caitlyn go, "Thanks for that, bro. Piss off out of here. We need to have a cuddly. You know what? Maybe I'll pay for the therapy session later. Maybe.
There's a certain word that I'm pretty sure the powers that be, that being Twitch and YouTube, really don't like it when you say, because it's a very upsetting word. It begins with S. That these are the kinds of thoughts that were very, very obviously going through Jinx's mind, and she telegraphs this very, very clearly. And instead of acting on them in the way that a sister should, and especially Vi should in this situation, given that she is hold on, I need to stand up for this because
Oh.
Sorry, I've been saying this since season 1. Since she is 150% responsible for everything that is wrong with Jinx's life right now. She, especially at this particular time, should be really, really, really concerned and invested in Jinx's mental state right now and doing everything she can to take care of her. And she just doesn't. And she decides that
she abandons her.
Getting her rocks off was more valuable, more worth her time, a higher priority.
And I don't know where this goes on the idea that Jinx that Vi tries to think at this point. I didn't abandon my sister this time. She abandoned me. That doesn't make it better. You know? Look, I'm just going to say Vi's not the good guy in this scenario. Sorry. Yeah,
no, she really isn't. Caitlyn's not either, particularly. No. Like, she has more reason to dislike Jace, but if she loves Vi, she should care enough about her to encourage her to go do the thing that she knows she should do.
Yeah.
You know, that's why that should be why she comes to get Vi out, to be like, hey, you know, go get her, champ. Like, that's, you know, go be your sister. You know, like, that would actually show, like, a lot of, like, maturity and, like, growth for her as a character, to be like, I don't like your sister, I wish she was dead, but I love you enough that I'm willing to put those feelings aside because she is, you know, as important to you as I am, if not more so, and I recognize that, and I want you to be happy, so go do that. Go save her, go do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
This is, like, the opposite of that, quite literally.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, if Echo didn't show up, that would have just been final. That would have been it.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, it's not like she thought about it and then changed her mind. No, she very, very much goes through with it. And it's only because of what is effectively divine intervention.
Divine intervention and stubbornness of a friend.
Oh.
Ultimately, like, someone's just boneheaded stubbornness prevents it, and we'll get to that sort of part of Act 3. There's just one, or episode 9. It's just one last bit.
I guess that doesn't even happen in this episode. I just
no.
I was like, no, that's shit.
It's the cold open. It's the cold open of episode 9.
Yeah, I guess so. Yes, before, like, sort of in between all that business is a scene of, like, you know,
the scene of biggest bygones be bygones known to man.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, Piltover and Zahn, you know how you have like 2 centuries of animosity between each other, and the last, like, decade or so, you've done nothing but try to brutally murder each other and you know, secede from each other and oppress each other and horribly murder each other.
Yeah. Shall we be friends?
An army of evil robots that you know nothing about until right now and is going to come and kill everybody. It's, by the way, it's entirely my fault. I'm going to casually leave that part out of the conversation.
Yeah. Do you want to be friends and fight the evil together?
They're going to yeah, let's join up and fight.
And to be fair to Zorn, initially they went, fuck no.
Yeah, a bunch of them did initially say no. But then, you know, 3.5 seconds later, they go, but yes, actually.
Actually, yeah.
You know, it's just sort of like, they dramatically walk out of the room and walk down the bridge so that they can dramatically walk back up the bridge and back into the chamber room 5 minutes later. You know, they got to get their 10,000 steps in, so they got to make it look like they're saying no so that they can say yes later.
Yeah. And, you know, so they get there and they get ready to go, and then the upgrades start happening to the tune of 21 pilots, and then we move to episode 9, which is titled God, I've forgotten these. I used to remember the names of these. Last episode.
The last one is The Dirt Under Your Nails.
Ah, yes. Actually, technically called The Dirt Under Your Nails Cupcake, but that's not that quite there yet. I remember that line now. So yeah, we start with Jinx blowing herself up.
Yes. So Jinx attempts to unalive herself.
Only to get rewound and Echo come in and basically just go, no, Jinx, No, doesn't he go, no, powder, no, Jinx, wait. And she basically blows herself up and unalives herself again because Echo couldn't get her name right.
Right. So, I also have a beef with this scene in the way it's presented. Like the essence of it, I'm fine with. Like, you know, I get it.
Mm.
What bothers me about it is that it's like very clearly established with the way Echo's ability works, that like none of the people who get rewound with him like have any like remember or have any consciousness of there being any kind of time loop nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Because and every time he's done it before, it's consistently been shown like they make exactly the same decisions, they say the exact same things, nothing changes except for him and what he does. So it's like the fact that she keeps blowing herself up and keeps going no more than 4 seconds into the past. What is it that causes her to change her decision making? Like, why wouldn't she just continue to blow herself up over and over again?
Now you've made me question a moment that I otherwise thought was quite cool. The third time
it's like
Jinx
4 seconds is not a lot of time to change your entire emotional state, you know? Like you've already got the the gun metaphorically pressed against your head, right?
I'm thinking a little bit deeper here. When Jinx blows herself up the third time, she doesn't do it from standing. She jumps into the air and then blows herself up. Now someone
so that adds like an extra like 2.5 seconds onto the whole process, right? So like,
well, this is why I said
you are about 1 second away from doing that thing, right?
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. An otherwise cool moment, because Jinx then would have noticed, and remember when we talked back about Echo being directly affected by stuff in his vicinity that he takes back with him when he rewinds. So she took, in a couple of seconds, the bit where she jumps up in the air and blows herself up, that's to avoid hitting Echo. Because the other two times she hit Echo on the third rewind, she sees that he's smouldering, and ingrains herself further into, no, I am unaliving myself. I don't want this to affect anyone else. She's noticed at that particular point, she shouldn't do because memory, but she sees Echo and goes, I don't want to hurt him. Bam.
Because as far as she's concerned, right, like there are no alternate versions. There's no resetting. As far as she's concerned, the first thing that she sees linearly is Echo shows up. He's already like partially on fire and bleeding for some reason. She's about to kill herself, and he goes to reach for her as she's about to do it. Like that is what she sees the first time. Like that is the only version of her brain and her mindset that exists from her perspective.
Yeah, every time she sees Echoes, that's the first time she's seen him.
So it's just it's really difficult to get the logistics of it sorted out in your head. Like, I guess eventually you kind of have to just say, I guess you got through to her at the very last possible second, because otherwise we're going to be here for talking in circles for 45 minutes.
Well, this is my other thing. People said they wanted to see that conversation, like, in full. No. They needed to... It could have been done a little bit better, but I feel like, especially if you're looking at... Right, I know that we shouldn't be looking at people who are playing League more, because the idea is that you didn't need to understand League to understand these characters.
Yeah.
We know that in the lore of League of Legends, characters see Echo do something and they see him do it perfectly. Because to Echo, he's had to rewind however many times it takes to do the thing. So otherwise, you see Echo solve the situation, you see him do it perfectly. So it stands within reason that given enough time, he can sort out Jinx. To sort out Jinx to the point that the Zorn forces band behind Jinx and managed to do a on your left to the forces of Piltover. That one is a little bit so far. That one couldn't just really explain. That was an off-screen convenience that sort of happened, there. But to say that you needed the entire conversation with Echo, it's like, I mean, in a 3-season series, you probably could have.
Yeah, like, again, if we're turning this into 3 seasons or more, 4 or 5 or 7
or even as what people were turning around saying, just turn it
been,
into a 4th act. But
like, we probably could have had more of that. But again, it's like, okay, I guess we just take it for granted that he said and did the exact right combination of words and sounds and gestures.
Yeah, however many years it took.
Pull a person back from over the edge. A person who used to be a friend.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, we sort of look at this because, let's be honest, the rest of the episode, minus the epilogue, is just one giant action sequence that we won't be able to explain enough to do it justice. It is just one giant action scene that we just have to pick bits out of to sort of discuss there.
I also feel like this final action vista is probably like the most like overt example of like we literally physically did not have enough time to fit all of this in here, because we quite literally cut from them planning the attack to it's already been going on for like 20 minutes. Like, we're in the middle of it.
Yeah. I mean,
like, with no transition. Literally hard cut.
Yeah, to them, docking up and just going for it. They've converted the Hextech gate to fire shipping containers. Which is fucking hilarious.
I like it. It's resourceful. I appreciate it.
Yeah. They've got this plan of stopping them slowly marching Victor's cocoon egg to the big giant cooling tower, to Chernobyl Piltover. No, that didn't work. That fight happens. Loris gets unceremoniously killed. Not even any last words, just gone.
Honestly, the fucking people with names.
He was not Braum.
Was that the guy with the discount Walmart Braum?
Yeah.
Walmart brand Braum.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean at this point, yeah, it's fucking war, man. People are gonna die. I actually appreciate that. Sometimes it's okay for.
I mean, I guess he didn't.
Especially like a more peripheral character, like. Yeah, like, sometimes people just fucking die,
I guess that's true. Because the alternative is for Loris to get shot, turn around to look at Vi, say a monologue that lasts entirely his last breath, and then go, ugh. No, yeah, I can see where you're at it. He just, doesn't get to do anything, doesn't get to, like, say anything, just dies.
It'd be nice if we, like, got to know him a little bit more, like, more than, like, 3 lines of dialogue throughout his entire existence. Might have made the death a little bit more impactful, but as it was, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, I know that guy. Death has consequences. How about that shit?
Yeah. So the fighting continues to happen, and we get to a point where Caitlyn gets down to the bottom of the tower, is about to look at trying to kill Ambessa, who basically just anti-magics it away and just goes, "No, you won't. Nice try, but no, you won't." They've weaponized the Grey in little canister grenade form. They've basically made tear gas.
Little fart bombs, stink grenades.
Yeah. Steb tries to be an action hero. Nearly does it. It's amazing that he's like the best action hero in that entire show and has not said a fucking word. In fact, apparently he said 2 words.
Steb's the fish guy?
He's the fish man, the fish Fastian.
Yeah. Man, absolute MVP, this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Fights off a Chemtech juggernaut monstrosity with a fucking fire axe, and survives. Almost takes down the main objective of this whole war scene. He's really claggering it up, honestly. Really showing his MVP status.
And I think he says, like, they keep calling him the Silent Guardian. Apparently he had 2 lines or 2 words of dialogue. And I think that was to say to someone, "Let's go." but it was in the very quietest term. But yeah, he does that and nearly succeeds. Except someone had sabotaged the bomb. Someone set us up the bomb. And
all your base belong to us.
yeah, and Caitlin gets knocked unconscious. And yeah, Ambessa turns around and goes, "Nice try, child, but maybe you should look at, your own side rather than mine." And who saw it coming but Maddie was a traitor all along.
I mean, who who did? Like, I actually don't know. Like, but did any? That's okay. Yeah,
I actually
right,
no, I was on there. There was basically, she was too cozy with Caitlin, and in that bit where she bedded her and sort of talked about, we could search for peace if we did this. If we just gave him the hex tech, everything would be fine. And it's just like, hold on, no, you shouldn't be saying that, and all that. But yeah, it turns out Maddie was a big ass traitor, and she's given the opportunity to just execute Caitlin, and says the cutting line, "I did appreciate your warmth." That was her James Bond style line before she tries to shoot, just like execute Caitlin, back of the head. Except a giant shield pops up, and that bullet just goes straight into Maddie's dome, and Kate Vi shippers across the world cheered again.
Yeah, I mean, it was very nice of
Mel?
Of Mel to wait until like a microsecond before she was about to get executed to intervene. I don't know. There's a lot of stairs in that building, I guess. It took a long time to get down there. But yeah, just in the nick of time, just barely.
Yeah. And she does it. And Maddie's just lay there in a pool of her own blood. Just there you go. Goodbye, Maddie.
Worth noting, this execution that failed, this takes place after, by the way, Caitlin sort of briefly frees herself and tries to get at Ambessa, only to get very non-fatally stabbed.
Oh yeah, stabbed in the leg
in retaliation.
with
a
again, baby knife.
So again, good of her to wait until she was stabbed in a way that she, I guess, knew wasn't going to kill her before intervening with the magic.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of stairs in Piltover.
Yeah, and if anyone says this was part of the plan, you're wrong.
It better not have been. That's a bad plan.
Yeah.
You wait until your governor general gets stabbed in the leg and almost shot in the head. That's a bad plan.
Yeah. So Mel gets down there, they sort shit out, and at the same time, at this point, Jinx has arrived with all her mates, and Echo, and they all start to have a fight. This is where the action splits off into many areas. You basically have Jinx, Echo, and Vi sorting shit out up on the top. You have Caitlin and Mel down with Ambessa.
We're just gonna casually sidestep where the fuck this like crazy Zeppelin helicopter thing came from.
Her. If I've got that right, isn't that her room?
I mean, basically, it was never established that was something that she was doing. It's just kind of, yep, she had this plan all along. All right. I guess she did. I can't prove she didn't, but I guess she did.
It's still fucking fun, but it's also, questionable of, sort of, if you think about it a bit. You know what? I was starting to feel like
what
Arcane
was this
is like...
for? What was she going to use it for? What was she going to do with it? Why was she making this?
Yeah. I'm starting to get this idea
she was
of...
going to blow up Piltover or some shit. I don't know.
I was watching a YouTube channel, OSW Review. They do old school wrestling reviews. That's what the OSW stands for. And someone did make a point, one of their hosts of that did make a point. It's like, wrestling is shit. Like, you can watch the wrestling and it's all fun and you have a great time and you enjoy it and you love it. But if you sit and think about it for too long, you wonder what's going on. And Arcane steps towards that a little bit because that fight sequence is fucking cool. It makes no sense. you know, by that whole
I like
thing.
things that make sense though, right? Like, here's the thing about wrestling. Here's my counter argument to wrestling. The thing about wrestling that's great is that you watch these people like perform these like amazing feats of athleticism and choreography
Yeah.
live, you know, semi-scripted, but like it's still not like, you know, it's not like a movie where they can take 150,000 takes and film it
Yeah.
from 1,000 angles to get it just right and edit it in post. Like they have to do it correctly
There and
the
then.
day of recording.
Yeah.
And like, and or that's it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's amazing. Like that is the thing about wrestling that's cool. And then like the stories are kind of just the stories and personalities like that gets you into that arena. Like that creates an excuse for this to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas I think when it comes to movies and TV shows, like, you know, the story does matter a little bit. Like I kind of do need to care a little bit about why these people are doing all these things a little bit. Otherwise, I could be watching anything. You know, I could just watch a cool digital like screensaver background swirl around in fancy colors. Like I could just do that. You know, what makes it different from that is that there's a story joining all these pieces together.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, like I said, this is just it's like the pacing is just too fast. It's too fast. You can see how it gets
too
from
fast,
A
and
to
there's
B.
a lot of things happening that don't make a lot of sense.
But we've got these we've now split our main characters in. We've got them all in one place, but we've now split them into their major fight or major action areas. Jinx, Echo, Vi, Caitlyn, Ambessa, and Mel. And then you have Jace and Victor. Let's just say Victor. Basically, long story short, Caitlyn and Steb and and Mel succeed in blowing up the cocoon. Victor's not there. Dun dun dun.
It was a misdirection all along.
Yeah. Warwick now gets like spawned up the clock tower, and just wrecks shit, destroys the top of the hex place, the hex gate, and Jace is trying to power down the hex gate, and Victor just walks in. Hex Tech Jesus himself just walks in. Lovely refraction animation on the glass that's shattering as he's walking across the room. Fortiche,
well,
I'm jealous of you all. I am honestly on the idea that an animator at Fortiche could get a paper cut, the blood would rip on the paper, and they'd still make a bit of fucking animation that would be greater than anyone else. I feel it's literally in their blood. Yeah, so like Victor and Jace are having this sort of. Jace has his evil villain monologue. I say evil villain monologue. It's just sort of his emotionless by design monologue of how he'll save the world by making everyone like me.
He does the classic, emotion bad, highbrow, big brain intellect good.
Yeah. Jace has spent an entire fight sequence trying to undo all these Hexcore things, and Victor just looks at it and just goes, nice. Cute. No.
And it's just powers it up.
Yeah, powers it back up, and that's sort of happening. Mel and Caitlyn have this 2-on-1 fight with Ambessa, where Ambessa is wrecking them.
Well, I mean, as she should. Like, okay, obviously, against a person who has literal magic, like you'd expect it to be a lot more one-sided, but she's got the magic absorbing runes, and she is as big as both of these women put together, and has 30 years of combat experience under her belt at least.
And she also has the anti-magic runes that stop her daughter's newfound powers, which I
just said.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Echo rewound on me there. Sorry, that was 4 seconds of my brain that just. Sorry.
Well, it must have been Echo rewinding it because you remember what happened. Anyway. So yeah, like, perfectly reasonable. Yes, she absolutely should be kicking both of their asses.
Yeah. Until Caitlyn has some logic. And that
she does a thing.
That logic is now to become with a Caitlyn spelt without an I.
She's just Catelyn now. She's the wife from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, she's Catelyn because she in this. You know what I'm glad with by the end of Arcane? I will no longer have to look at ice cream moments. There were so many sharp objects near eyeballs throughout this entire show. And, you know, I'm done with it. Caitlyn lets Ambessa
the good news
slice
is
out
I
her
think
eye.
that's the last one.
Yeah. Lets her slice the eye out, and then she uses it to slice the anti-magic runes off her arm, which allows Ambessa to summon LeBlanc, the illusory sorcerer.
Yeah, illusory sorcerer, person, man, lady.
Who starts...
and then when she...
Yeah, no, go for it.
Starts, like, strangling her in, like, upside down, death rose dimension.
It's gonna kill her painfully.
And then, the writers realize, oh shit, we should probably do something about this plot line as well, because there's a lot of these. And so Mel goes into the magic rose dimension with her, and, like, I guess, like, explodes her soul or some shit with her magic.
Yeah. To which the illusory sorcerer's last words are... the sorceress's last lines are "clever girl." No, sorry, sly girl. In an almost sort of respectful, fuck moment, and basically kills Ambessa with mercy. And she's now.
It's just like, hey, you're dead, but like you didn't have to like, suffer or whatever.
Yeah, you are now the new wolf.
Yeah, Noxians be Noxians. She killed the old leader. That means she's the leader now.
Yeah, that's how it all works. And the Noxian soldiers didn't attack. They just salute and just go, "Hail to the new chief." That's how it works in Noxus.
I would love for the story of Arcane, like, because I'll expound on this later. I would love for the story of this like event in history, in their fictional history, to be written by literally anyone who's not one of the main characters. Honestly, the main characters are missing a lot too.
It's written by Steb.
When at some point Ambessa like throws her spear and it like deflects off his shield and like goes into one of the random Noxian soldiers' chests. The guy standing next to him, I want him to tell me what the hell happened in Arcane Season 2. I think his perspective on this whole thing would be hilarious.
Oh, fair enough. I was gonna use Steb, but just imagine. Just ellipses all the way through the book. But yeah, so that combat sequence ends. So now we're left with two action sequences. Jace and Victor having a fight while simultaneously not Vander at this point, he's just Warwick, is having a fight with Jinx and Vi. This happens...
They've all taken physio lifting juice, so they're all floating.
Well, that's
around.
the thing, yeah. As Jace and Victor fly up the tower, they activate the anti-grav rune. So then, just all the fights are happening in combat. I did like the fact that Jinx's minigun, which is according to the League of Legends, mini game that they've had on the website on the client for the past couple of weeks, called Jinx Ruins Fixes Everything. She managed to put a saddle on a minigun. It's now called Rhino. It's just a little bit of extra stuff there. But yeah, they're all having their fight. They managed to have this break in the fight in slow-mo that as Vi is looking to punch Warwick, Jace and Victor just fly by. Jace stares at Vi. Jace stares at Vi and just goes, "I fucked up!" And Vi's like...
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did Caitlyn and Jace, like, talked to each other at any point this season? They
Uh,
had a conversation.
they had a conversation in Act 1, where Jace apologizes for not being around while Caitlyn's mourning Cassandra. Jace is too busy caring about Como Victor. So
Yeah, it's crazy how characters just who really should talk more.
Oh,
just
they
don't really
also
get around to it.
They also discussed the plan. They were also there for the plan for the major battle.
Well, I'm not counting that. Like
they're the two conversation
like,
bits.
When I talk about a conversation, I mean like a conversation.
Oh, between each other.
No,
Act 1, Episode 1.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Anyway, so the point is, they eventually end up at the roof or whatever, and then Victor just decides he's gonna mind control the whole city.
Yeah.
Which he can do.
He casts Chaos Storm, which grabs everyone. They're updating Chaos Storm for Victor in the League of Legends game. Chaos Storm
does
now.
It mind control your entire enemy team?
No, that's saved for Renata Glask. Don't be silly. No, the way that the Chaos Storm happens now, that any kill Victor gets while Chaos Storm is active increases the radius of Chaos Storm.
Oh, that sounds like
so fun. It's more in line with what he does in Arcane, except that he didn't kill anyone. But anyway, everyone starts getting converted, which if Ambessa was still alive at this point, she will have realised she really, really fucked up.
Yeah, this is what I mean by, like, at this point, like, Ritter doesn't really need anybody.
Mm-hmm.
He's just ascended to, demi-godhood at this point.
Yeah.
Sudden
echo!
Yeah, suddenly an echo appears.
Mm.
He's using his cool time travel powers and skateboarding tricks to avoid being grabbed by the goo.
Yeah, and his weapon now is confirmed to be a clock hand from the tower. That's what it is. And yeah, he does this epic dodging, weaving, and then he just gets clotheslined by an automaton. Rewinds that. Keeps going, looks like he's about to take on Victor, and then gets pile driven by another bunch of automatons and gets stuck in a 4-second loop. He breaks that limit. And immediately fires the Z drive into Victor's FOD, who learns as this gets hit in his face that this shouldn't happen. Logically, there shouldn't be two anomalies in the same place. Gets hit in the face, his head explodes, and Victor sees the light. Because Jace is going to...
Can you see the light?
Yeah, and Jace is like, I want to stop this. I want to help you. I want my partner back. And Victor goes, why? And Jace goes, because you told me to. Flashback. And the reveal that Victor was the mysterious mage and not Rise. All along, disappointed Rise mains everywhere.
Yeah. So, yeah, essentially it's like it's revealed that, like, all from the very beginning, it was
Victor all along.
Yeah, I have things to say about that too. Again, we'll wait.
So yeah, Victor basically
a lot. I really should have taken notes. I haven't taken, like, I think since the first act, I haven't made any notes.
Nah, this is just going off.
Time for it.
Yeah, this is just going off my brain.
But this is one time I really should have made notes because I have a grocery list of things we need to address in, like, the post game.
Okay, well we'll get to this post game. We'll get to the post game lobby in a minute.
So basically he breaks through the explosion in his face. Breaks through and he's allowed to, like, see, oh my god, I am a bad guy the whole time.
Yeah, and Victor basically turns around and says, "Oh yeah, I succeeded. There was nothing left. So I would travel through various dimensions and timelines to find the solution or find the one situation where I got through to someone, or where I got through to me. And that one was Jace. Jace in this universe had the solution, and it was able to get through to me. They show this by dropping those crystals into young Jace's hands multiple times, with the camera showing each various rune that did it. And it turned out it was the acceleration rune all along. Yeah.
But yeah, so at that point, it's kind of like... At that point, it's like he realizes, okay, yeah, I need to shut this shit down, except I can't, or whatever. Like, it's
yeah, it's like, leave me to do this then. And Jace goes, no. You're not getting where we're at here. Your future self told me we need to do this. I mean, he says it in less words. He says, no, we'll do it together. But that's what it all comes down to. It's
and then they do it together.
Yeah. To lovely animation again, but that's just par for the course. It's Fortiche, for fuck's sake. Come on now, have you not been listening?
And the thing behind Ryan happens.
Yeah, they touch heads in a bit of best friend shipping, and
it's just very, very platonic, very, very best
Mm.
friends moments, and then all of a sudden, schlup.
Yeah, they just disappear. All the automatons fall to the ground. Everyone lives, and we all go happy ever after. Roll credits. No, of course we fucking don't. There's still one last bit. Jinx falls onto a ledge, smacks her head off the side of it. Damn well should have broken her neck. Regains consciousness and gets onto a ledge. Vi lands on the back of her neck, lands on a ledge, and regains consciousness. And the corpse of Warwick lands on the same ledge as Vi. Vi can't help helping people who's not named Jinx, and tries to cry around Vander again. Warwick reactivates, goes absolutely crazy, and Jinx heroic sacrifice.
Yeah, I guess. I guess whatever. I mean, it seemed to me like there was at least hope for Vander, for Warwick. Before we had intervention with Victor. I guess whatever healing juice he put into him
wasn't good enough.
Is effectively not, or it's not there anymore. Now that he's dissipated, like, it's kind of shown that, like, with some exceptions, there's pretty much all the stuff that he did kind of dissipates.
I mean, in episode 8, they kind of show that last blood transfusion just ejects what's left of Vander out. So it's just like, there is no Vander, there is only Zool. Sorry, Warwick.
Like, okay, fine.
But
fine.
yeah, Jinx basically determines at this point, you know what? There's only one way to solve this. Knocks the hex crystal out of Vi's bitch mittens, which is, a very, very bad design. Jace, you need to remake them again, pal. You can't.
If you push this button right here, it ejects the thing, and then it
pops right out.
Your main weapon becomes useless. It's like, oh.
Yeah, and
probably should have told me about that.
Yeah, that's a pretty flawed design. So yeah, Jinx falls down, grabs a grenade, and her and Warwick blow up. And that's the end of the main story of Arcane. We get a little epilogue sequence that shows that a crow, busts into Jace's hammer that's on top of the thing and grabs a hex core. The crow sprouts 2 new eyes. Yes, that's Swain's crow all along.
And, Noxian victory at last.
Yeah. Mel takes the mantle of leader of the Ambessa military. Not the Ambessa military, the Medarda Corps.
The Medardas. And
then heads over to Noxus.
To go, yeah. She's off to the sequel.
Yeah. Echo mourns the loss of someone, Powder, Jinx, while Savika becomes the sole Zornite member of the council.
Also, Savika, worth noting, almost died at the end of an act, back on form.
Yeah.
So yeah, 5 out of 6, pretty good score.
Yeah, 5 out of 6 acts. Wow. And then that sort of happens. They go away. Caitlyn is then solid Caitlyn. Big boss Caitlyn. Is looking.
We also do get our extraordinarily brief glimpse of, hey, Oriana exists. And Singed is there.
Yeah, Singed got everything he wanted, everything he needed.
Not a goddamn clue how that happened, like what he did, or what occurred to allow this to happen. Last time we saw, she was just in a tube, and then she's here alive.
Yeah.
Again, we get nothing. We get nothing on that.
Yeah. Just know that he succeeded. But yeah, Caitlyn's going through the diagrams of the Hexgate and sees a cooling vent, or like an escape vent for air, and she has a wry smile as Vi sings the family tune of the bridge. My friend across the river. It just runs in the family. And yeah, basically they turn around and just go, are you still in this fight? Is everything good? Will you still be here with me? And Vi goes, yeah, I'm still going to be in the fight. As the final shot of a blimp flies away to lands anew. And then the screen scratches and says the end in Jinx fashion, and then it disappears. So Jinx, it may or may not be dead. Someone looked at it frame by frame, and as the grenade blows up, they see a shimmery purple, line flick towards a cooling vent, and that's their belief that she's still alive. And we can still kind of see.
Hey, sure.
I mean, Jinx Powder's first line is that she says one day she's going to ride on the blimp, and the last shot of the show is her riding on a blimp, so we can see where it's coming. So that's Act 3. That's the landing.
And that's Arcane.
That's Arcane.
That is the show formerly known as Arcane. That is what we've been talking about.
Yeah. So I want you to get into your laundry list now. I'm going to sit here because for me, I think I've said sort of bits on this. It was a good story with some convenient pacing problems right at the end that turned this from a very, very good show into a good show.
An all right show. I would go as far as to say
it fumbled. And I've got this.
Yeah, really tripped over the finish line there.
I want to see. I've got this post from the showrunner on Reddit in response to the wish we had more time thing. I don't know whether I should read this before or after you go through your
what is this in
issues with the show.
To,
this was in reference to the last episode of Afterglow, which was the companion series, when someone said, or when he said, that the Jace Victor ending feels unresolved to him and they were not given the time. So the user who made the post, called Penguin Senpai God, that's someone's password. He basically turns around. We have official confirmation 6 minutes into the video that Christian wasn't happy with how they had to rush through the finale. This, plus the fact they were told to cut Echo Jinx dialogue, should end most discussions of whether they were simply wanting to move on to the next story if there was some other authority behind the decision. Basically, then rants, studio should just let the producers of the show cook. To his response, I'm going to be as quick as I can and concise as I can without fucking this up here. Because as people were asking about this, and people were going, yeah, it's quite clearly that they were rushed, that this should have been a 5-season thing, and, blah, 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 blah. Christian responds, some theories here are a bit too far out there. No, we didn't ask Fortiche to produce a 90-minute final episode. It's quite the opposite. Our scripts are always shorter than what Fortiche ends up proposing in the storyboard phase. We want them to get inspired and roam free, and then we can reel it in while also allowing for the magical moments to find themselves. It's a tight creative collaboration, not some sort of, alright vendor company, do your work. Achieve the impossible, but do it quickly. I consider many of the people at Fortiche to be some of my closest friends. I find it disappointing that people suggest these things. No, we didn't get corporate greed, pressure, or anything. However, yes, there are always constraints, both in budget and time. That's part of our job as creatives, to work within these constraints. Constraints are normal, and they were always generous, and I had always had final say on anything creative. But they do exist. They also existed during Season 1. It would have been great to have more time to work on this second season, or add time to add to the episodes, but we didn't have it, for a number of reasons, budget being one. We've always been extremely lucky to get these absolutely insane budgets from Riot to produce Arcane. We all feel incredibly lucky. Nobody else gets these types of budgets, please don't forget that. Time being the other constraint. There's a release window that a massive amount of people work towards, not just at Fortiche, but at Riot on different games, at Netflix, brand partners, even key talent that works in the show that, simply put, is getting tired cranking away at this incredibly long season and project over multiple years. Don't forget that at the end of the day, this is just a collective of human beings, of people. I would assume that there is no other TV show that has taken as long as Arcane to produce 2 seasons without any pauses. I'll get back to that. Arcane is unrivaled in sheer scope of high-fidelity animation. I don't want to use any of these things as an excuse, but yeah, this work demands a lot on a human level. Our Season 2 is amazing. We've made you feel more than you've ever felt when watching animated characters. It's not perfect. You don't take these types of hefty swings and expect that everything wraps up neatly with a neat bow tie. It grows and evolves in its own way, and it becomes what it becomes. Has any TV series ever successfully stuck the landing with this many main characters, time travel, supernatural abilities, technological inventions, fantasy world stakes, high concepts, complex relationships, and global expectations? I actually don't know. Would be quite curious to know if folks can think of any, so I can study them. And that's a lot. And
I
how
liked
many
that
of those...
response less as it went on, I'll be honest. I think it started off strong and got real shite in the back half.
Well, a bit like Arcane.
It sounded like they were... Yeah, it kind of like that. Yeah, it was actually kind of is a microcosm for Arcane
in one 500 character post. 500 word post.
Because it was like, yeah, it's like at first it was kind of like, it's like, oh yeah, no, there was no corporate pressure to make this shorter than it needed to be. There was, what happened, man.
Mm-hmm.
And then the entire second half of the post would be like, hey, so we had a limited budget. There was things we had to do. We had to line things up with several different departments and corporations. We had to, we had all these plates, spinning plates to balance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just life, man. And it's just like, okay, so there was pressure to make it happen within a certain period of time, be a certain length, and be the way that it is. Like you're kind of saying two things here. Speaking two different languages.
Yeah. And so...
listen, man. I'm sure they. I by no means do I think Fortiche or the writers did anything especially wrong. I think they probably genuinely did and thought they were doing the absolute best that they could. I am not convinced by the nature of that response that
the start of it sounded fine. The end of it ended up he doth protest too much. Yeah.
I think maybe we're saving face a little. We're tipping our hand a little bit.
I mean, again, this is just a go into the idea before someone comes across this and goes, "You've determined this is the worst show ever." No, we haven't.
We haven't. This is not the worst show ever.
It's a good show. It's a great video game adaptation because let's be honest, in the scale of things, there has been absolute drosh. has been absolute shit. So this is a very good thing.
Yeah,
what
we've
I'm
only
saying
very
is,
recently broken the curse of video game adaptations being universally awful. It's a very new thing that we live in a world where like sometimes we do that and it's like all right, you know.
Yeah, I made this warning though when the show came out. It's like after having time to think about it, and we did have 3 years, and I know they said they haven't created it without pauses. It's like, yes, I can understand that you've been working at the whole project for 9 years. We as an audience had to sit there and wait. So for us, there's a pause, but then maybe that's just me being an impatient twat. But yeah, I did say this warning in between seasons 1 and 2. It was like, if you had this good show, and this is now the bar for good video game adaptations, and there have been shows afterwards that have, and movies, Borderlands notwithstanding, that have challenged that bar. So you have to either then create something equal to that or succeed further, and it didn't quite get there. And it's not for some reasons that some people are being.
And at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, like you can't have it both ways. You can't say you had no pressure and you accomplished exactly what you set out to do, and also say that that you had a limited budget and that specific time release windows. It's just like, it's not like, in this 9-year project, it's not like by year 2, right, it didn't be concept as to the scale of the project that they had commissioned, right? Like by year 2 or 3 of this, they're like, oh, this is going to be like a whole thing, like if they're not able to plan around that and make room for the best possible show that could exist, then yeah, pressure is going to be on the studio to do less than they could.
Yeah.
Had they had more people, more money, more time.
Yeah. Oh no, we're losing Duncan.
No one behind the scenes
there we go.
Should be like, oh, I kind of was expecting more than that, Yeah.
My
internet is fucking garbage. I don't even know if I'm still here.
Yeah, you've kind of returned. Well, your camera's not returned, but you have. Oh, it's gone. Goddamn.
Right, I'm gonna hold up 3 fingers and.
Yeah, I can see them. I can see your 3 fingers. Oh.
I understand what you're saying.
Oh no.
So just keep talking. I'm talking about random.
Yeah.
While you're at it.
Yeah. So there's something I'm going to just go on here though. There is this bit. This bit. League of Legends players and the internet. I need you to just I need you to just sit down for a second. Just zone out of everything. Just focus on me for a second. League of Legends, the video game, does not have canon. So shut up about characters dying in Arcane. Please. And thank you. Nothing that happens to the characters in... There we go. Nothing in League of Legends, the video game, has lore. So shut the fuck up. Characters can die in Arcane. It would have been stupid for every main champion in Arcane to do everything that happened across those 18 episodes and still be there at the end of it. And for everyone to go, cool, this explains why they're in the video game. No. The video game is a sandbox. It is a giant what-if simulator where you pluck characters from out of time. It's like fucking Super Smash Brothers. You just pluck characters from universes everywhere, you plonk them in a box, and you go, what if, and you go. Ambessa dying does not affect her being in Summoner's Rift. Jace and Victor dying don't explain why they're in Summoner's, does not stop them from being in Summoner's Rift. There is problems. There is lore problems in the fact that some characters, because of Arcane, no longer make sense of being on Summoner's Rift. Camille, Blitzcrank, just to say a couple. Phenoxys, Riven. There's other characters that come up. That's a thing that comes. There are characters of which now, if Arcane is canon, don't make sense as to how they can get onto Summoner's Rift. But remembering the other idea at this point, that Summoner's Rift is not the canon of League of Legends. Summoner's Rift is a game where you can take the stories of characters from League of Legends and place them into the game. So I'm having that rant. If I hear one more person turn around and saying, "Oh, Victor's death means he shouldn't be in Summoner's Rift. Oh, the law of the game's broken," fuck off.
That literally doesn't even make sense as an argument.
So sorry, right.
So how do you do, sir? How you going?
I'm fine.
So
I'm okay now.
Things happening in Arcane.
That was sort of my thing. It's like, maybe Riot shouldn't have turned around and said that Arcane is the establishing canon for League of Legends going forth, if you're then going to make those big decisions. But then again, that there is the idea that the game is called League of Legends, and I think people sort of mistaken what the word legend would mean in that term.
I always interpreted that as far as my perspective on League of Legends was that these characters were not necessarily existing concurrently at all times.
Yeah.
I always kind of got the impression that they kind of got pulled from different parts of the world, different times. Some characters, some characters may be dead or alive by what is ever considered the standard timeline of League. But I never assumed that they were all people that just concurrently existed in the world.
Yeah.
So that part I don't even care about any of that.
No, I sort of, just while you were having your internet thing, I just needed to get it off my chest. I've been holding that in for 2 weeks of listening to buffoons complain that the TV show is affecting the video game lore, the game that has no lore, the game whose lore is outside of that. I mean, personally, if I had more time, I'd rant about how Riot fucked up with the Forge project, but that's a discussion for another time.
Do we want to show? Do you feel like having a conversation about how exactly 3 characters throughout this series, and it is precisely, you can count them, 1, 2, 3 characters
that's the 3
series demonstrated demonstrated unaliving tendencies at some point throughout the show, be it season 1 or season 2.
Okay.
And all 3 of those characters unalived themselves effectively by the end of the show.
So this is the trivecta. So this is Jinx, obvious, Jace and Victor. Yeah.
Yeah. All 3 of these people demonstrated a desire to, cut short their
existence on the mortal plane.
Coil.
Yeah.
And they did. I mean, I guess we can speculate about whether or not Jinx is actually dead or not. I don't feel like having that conversation because I'm fucking tired of this show at this point.
Oh, I mean, personally, I'd like to go for the optimistic.
Functionally speaking, as far as the explicit story concerned, that's what happened.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's something that ought to be mentioned. It's like, that's concerning. It just coincidentally happens to be the 3 people that nobly sacrificed themselves for the greater good happen to be people who
were going to sacrifice themselves, just
prone towards those tendencies. I don't know that that's an especially healthy message to put out into the world, but all right, good job. Right?
Yeah. I mean, sort of there are people who are much better at talking about mental health than me.
Oh, sure. We don't have to go into it. I just thought
No,
I'd be like,
I can see
be
where
like,
you.
hey, look at my little macaroni drawing. It's shit. Maybe we go. Anyway, moving.
Yeah, is something that's come up, and yeah, maybe it shouldn't have been the case, but it just.
Probably could have worked that one a little
Mm.
different.
Yeah.
So I guess like the Black Rose, like, is that whoever that was? I guess they're dead. I don't know. It kind of looked like they died. I don't know. It looked like Mel kind of blew her up with light magic.
Yeah,
To me.
but then I'm also on the idea that. See, my argument on this is that basically that's like a mind prison anyway. And, I guess.
But it's a mind prison. But like, I don't know. Personally, I get the pretty strong impression that if Mel or Mbasa died in that mind prison, that they would die for real.
Mm,
You know, that was the impression that I got. And
yeah, I mean, like you say, there's this idea that we could have just killed off yet another champion. Is possibly a thing. I'm just not. I'm just not too sure. I'm just on the idea that no, that's. I mean, in what corporeal form does LeBlanc even exist in? That's probably the thing. If she can just,
if I knew more about LeBlanc, maybe I could speculate on it.
Yeah, that's that. Unfortunately, the Black Rose is sort of a blind spot in some of my like league thingy. Like, all I knew is that apparently they did two things. They secretly controlled Noxus, and they are solely there for the prevention of the return of Mordekaiser. That's sort of about it. And how this works into Nox and control, I don't get. It's like, maybe that's just a side benefit. But that's that's just sort of where it is. I'm trying to think if there are any other questions that sort of maybe get unresolved. I mean, it's pretty simple at this point that our next show is going to involve Noxus again. Wherever it goes, who knows? Whether this is the Noxus invasion of Ionia, whether there's anything else going on. But there's just the idea that in the pipeline, one show is already 1 year into production. I mean, that's nothing. But
yeah, on the scale of Arcane, that's we may get this by 2030.
Yeah, that's the
season 1 by 2030.
Yeah, that's the pre-prod phase. Yeah, apparently they're going to be looking at
James Cameron's Avatar project.
Yeah, three regions. One I really don't care about. I'm just going to bring it in. I could not care less about Demacia. I honestly couldn't. If I wanted to watch Game of Thrones, I'd watch Game of Thrones.
I only care about Demacia in the capacity of I think I would like a little Lux and Garen story. I wouldn't mind seeing them deal with mage business, place that hates mages. That'd be all right.
Yeah. See, for me, I'd like the idea of Ionia, because it's Ionia, Noxus, Demacia is what they said the regions they are looking at next. Fuck, just give me a slice of life anime set on Mount Targon, for honestly. I'd just sit there.
Honestly, what I would really appreciate is just give me like a sharp left turn. Give me like one of those give me like an alternate universe from like one of their skins.
Oh, what should we go with? Should we go with Riot Records? Should we just have a slice of life in a look at the music industry?
Or just like give me like we could have a story set in like the Star Guardian universe, or we could have a story set in like
go full anime
universe.
So KDA is what
something like that.
Yeah, KDA is what they call the Riot Records universe. So Pentakill, True Damage, KDA are all like, so the music bands of characters are set in the same sort of universe. But yeah, no, that's why I say some sort of like slice of life show, or even like The Office. I fucking find it hilarious if they did a sort of like, mockumentary style thing, but just set set in Riot Records. You know, Thresh is like the David Brent sort of character, or whoever the name of like Steve Carell's character is in the American Office. But he's just like the leader of this record company. Is just like having to deal with these weird characters, just all walking in.
Karthus is there with his amp, and he's like, this one goes up to 12. It's like, why 12? It's like, well, 11's not enough.
11's not enough. I've watched Spinal Tap. It doesn't do it. I need more power! As he does it, just a requiem goes off in the backwards. It's like, oh my god, Karthus, you've just...
That does remind me, we need to do our, we need to get that,
our next mega project. Yeah, but you know what? We'll say it now. We're gonna do it at some point. We're gonna get some recording sessions going once we've like fully laid down our ground rules. Did you see how I've set the tier maker list up at the moment? No, from the thing. I did mostly take your list. But yeah, based on
I had a glimpse at the outline.
Yeah, but just as this idea of based on a conversation I had with someone on Blue Sky, on the idea I just made, my brain just decided one day to just say, what if we took every champion from League of Legends and determined their, taking their skill sets and their general well-being and how they're built in League of Legends, give them a hernia in the lower left abdomen, I believe we went for.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we had a hernia in the lower left abdomen, how would it affect their ability to fight? How viable would they be as a champion in League of Legends living with a hernia? This was the thing. She sent me the link to the Weird Al song "Living with a Hernia," and that's where it came along. I hadn't listened to that one before, so I just had to laugh. It was based on the fact that I started listening to the audiobook of the League of Legends audiobook Ruination, which is the story of how the Shadow Isles happened. The Viego and Callista story, basically. And it was just like, I was reminded of that music video and just hearing Weird Al just go, Ruination. It just led to that. But yeah, we've got our tiers from we're only making them stronger, all the way down to my bro needs a Rune Terran Surgeon stat.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
Let's say we got ground rules on it that we need to sort out, but we'll start doing like recording sessions of them, and then once we've done enough recording sessions of them,
that'll be another thing that we'll bring that up later.
Yeah,
we'll get around to it.
Yeah, we will get there. Is there anything else you want to get off your chest?
I am upset about Victor. In general, I can't say that. Like, it really felt like they had a character who was like not the Victor from League of Legends, and they gave him an accent and they called him Victor, and they decided, okay, so we need to like speedrun turning him into Victor. How can we do that? Okay, so here's the thing. He's gonna almost die. He's gonna get absorbed by a magic blob. That magic blob is gonna make him into like a weird, like emotionally detached messiah figure with metal limbs.
Yeah.
He's gonna heal people that have like been like corrupted with shimmer. Oh, by the way, the Chimerans are gone. Apparently, I guess that story is just over.
Yeah.
Anyway. Just zooming past that, Neum highway speeds.
They chased the Singe. That's what happened.
I'm gonna go heal everybody. I'm gonna be a cool peace-loving Jesus man. Then we're gonna have his best friend shoot him in the face. And then he's gonna be like, I hate people. I'm gonna kill everyone. And by kill everyone, I mean I'm gonna make them like robots or whatever. And then he does that. And then he's like, wait, no, that's actually bad. I shouldn't do that. I'm gonna unalive myself to make everything better. And then he does. I'm like, wow, that's a lot to go through in like
120 minutes.
Yeah, like that's a lot of arc to go through in like 3 months. Like in universe time.
Yeah.
And especially that last bit, the whole like going from I'm a peaceful man who wants to make everything better for everyone to I'm literally Mecha Hitler. I'm uh, that all happens in like 3 days tops. That whole transformation.
Hmm.
And I just have to say, I disagree. I reject your reality, and I have no substitution because honestly, there's so much to do, so much to see. There's a lot of problems with taking these back streets, so I'm just not going to bother.
No diggity.
You need to do better, Senator. That's just not how you write characters.
Ooh. Ooh.
It's just not great. It's just not great. I don't like the way that panned out. I think we needed a lot more time, to develop that character, that villain arc,
Hmm.
and also to resolve it. I think they just had a place they needed to go, and by any means necessary, at any cost, they had to get there. So they did, and it cost them a lot. It cost them what could have been a really cool storyline.
Yeah, I'm more like just. I kind of liked the Victor arc, but it deviated from what Victor was. I was also on the idea that that's not the Victor that's.
Listen, I don't give a shit who deviates from what. I just want it to be good. I want, if it's going to deviate, make it good. You know, Jace ain't Jace. You know, Vi ain't Vi. Caitlyn ain't Caitlyn. Jinx ain't Jinx. These are all varying qualities of you know, these are not all equally good. You know, they vary in their goodness, but they don't have to be who they were in League. As long as what they are now is good and makes sense. And I just don't think that they justified what Victor became in the end. And I don't think that there was enough of an acknowledgement on, maybe Victor did by the end, but one of the things that I keep coming back to with Jace and Vi in particular as really standout points of frustration through season 1 and season 2 is accountability. I'm glad this show's over because I'm fucking tired of ranting about how sick I am of the fact that neither of these characters ever takes any goddamn accountability for things that either did happen or almost happened, or that they could have prevented, or that is entirely their fault from the ground up.
And I will go on.
Everything,
I will go on this.
everything is Jace's fault. He's like barely sorry as far as.
I don't think he actually apologizes. To be honest, he kind of says sorry to Victor, but not in the way that it should happen. I know someone down the line just going, "No, no, you got to give Jace slack. It was Victor all along." No, fuck off. Jace. No.
How many people between Piltover and Zon got killed because fucking goddamn dummy face Jace did shit he shouldn't have done, and B, did shit he shouldn't have done in the least safe way humanly possible, and never implemented any safety features or controls at any point throughout the process ever.
I can see it.
A lot is the answer. A number that is countable, but I don't know it. It's large. Probably 2 or 3 digits at least, I would say.
I mean, because at least, because I'm going to go for this, Vi not taking accountability for stuff just comes through the fact that she's just boneheaded and reckless. Jace should know better because he's supposed to be a smart character. And the fact that he just turns around and goes, "I didn't do this. No, I have to fix the actions that have fucked this thing up. Your actions. No, the actions that caused this situation. Yeah, your actions. No."
Yeah, it's like Jace does. He at least like at least he does something. But it's like, oh my god.
So,
it's like he spends a lot of time fixing his mistakes, but at no point does he ever like have a moment where he's like, I did this. This is on me. This is my B, dog.
Yeah.
Um,
Because they
and
can
that
look
was,
at
like,
this through other characters.
yeah.
Like Caitlyn gets called out for doing really, really shit stuff, and she does go, "I fucking know." You know, you say that doesn't necessarily make her a good character. I mean, in the morality style, good, because she's
You
not,
can at
but
least
she's
with
aware.
Caitlyn, you can at least like, you can kind of excuse it because like it's like between the fact that she had, a lot of circumstances outside of her control, pushing her to do the things that she does and make the decisions that she makes. She also had, a Noxian general with overwhelming military force sitting over her shoulder, being like, "Hey, you know what? You should like go kill some people." And she's just like, "Cool. Please don't kill my entire city. Let's go do that." Yeah.
Mm.
Because there was always that like implicit threat looming over her shoulder the whole time. It's like, yeah, I could, do the correct thing and not start a war with Zon, and maybe maybe Noxus just unalives my entire council, and just goes and takes whatever they want. Or I
Yeah.
could stay on their good side, and maybe I can finagle this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Now, for me, there's just one thing I just need to get off my chest. Just one thing. I mean, past my issue was sort of characters in lore, and we've explained that. But I've got one thing that I just need to finally get off my chest before we wrap this up. Thank fuck Isha wasn't Teemo.
yeah, I mean, as far as we know, we didn't see her die, right? We never saw her body. Maybe she just stood long enough in one spot to turn invisible.
Oh, fuck off. Don't tell
She
us she
could just be
respawned in
cloaked.
Bandle City and has just come back.
2, 3, 4.
No.
I'm just saying. Maybe the stealth is so good that even mighty omnipotent Victor can't see her anymore. Him, her, them.
This shouldn't exist anymore.
Who knows?
Uh,
There's also one more thing I want to mention before we get to the real wrap up. What happened to the professor? Where'd he go? Is he okay? Is anyone keeping track? Tabs on him?
Has anyone found him? Professor? No? Are you here? Oh. Anyway,
Oh, here. Okay, for real, an actual, not joking,
okay.
important thing that needs to come up.
Fair enough.
This is kind of linked to my whole thing with Jace, right?
Okay.
And his lack of accountability. There was not the conversation that needed to happen. The one absolutely necessary conversation that I don't care what writer says what about anything, about whether they had or had enough time, say what they wanted to say. There was one absolutely essential conversation that was left out, omitted, and that was Jace apologizing to Heimerdinger for everything. That is a conversation that never took place. This man undid everything that Heimerdinger built up.
Took 300 years to 200 years, wasn't it?
For the last 200 years. Shot in his face, completely ruined all of his goodwill, and took advantage of him. Got him kicked off his own council. And at no point was there any times when it would be there was no exchange between the two where Jace could be like, "You were right. This was a terrible mistake. I shouldn't have done this. And I'm sorry for ruining your life," essentially. And that is just a conversation that never happened. Those two never met again this season after they did their little heisty thing. They touched they got together. They touched the goo ball.
Yeah.
And never saw each other again.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that no one ever questioned where Heimerdinger was afterwards. Did Echo just keep that to himself?
I'm sure at some point he probably mentioned, by the way, Heimerdinger's not coming back.
Yeah, he's not coming back, and it's because of you, Jace.
Some shit happened.
Yeah, it's because of you, Jace. What did I do? I didn't do anything.
like that would have been something. Like, hey, Echo could like at least be the stand-in and be like, yeah, by the way, he's gone. He like had to sacrifice himself just to bring me back here.
Mm.
And then at that point, just could be like, oh my god, I got Heimer killed. You know, my mentor, my like idol, the person I like inspired me to be who I am today. I got him killed because I did the one thing he explicitly told me not to do over and over again.
Mm. Oh
You
dear.
know, like that would have been something, and they just didn't do that. And I cannot believe, of all the things to talk about, that's the one thing that they left out. I'm mad about it.
I think
I'm
we
not
need
happy.
to. I think Duncan needs to go through the anomaly now. Needs to head to the dimension where what could have been.
Yeah, I need to go listen to
Sting.
Sing some more and
Yeah.
make me feel a little better, cheer me up.
Yeah. Sting needs
Uh,
to be there. Well, let's wrap
yeah,
it up.
but yeah, at this point, it's like I probably could have spent easily 5 hours talking about this show if I really wanted to, if I had organized my notes. But at this point, between season one and season two, like they said, this has been a very trying act. I tried to be very. Season one,
Mm-hmm.
I think it is not inaccurate to say that even if it was not a conscious decision, on some level, I was choosing to try and not like it. I was looking for a fight.
Mm.
And I shouldn't have been. I really should have. Very much missing the forest for the tree. I was trying a little too hard, I think. Um, and I really think that for at least the first two acts of this show, I was almost going in the total opposite direction. I'm just kind of like, oh, this is fine. Shuffle that under the rug. That's all right. You know, these things happen. We can accept that. It's a minor issue. Don't worry about it. And then Act Three, it
Mm.
just kind of blew the doors open on that whole thing. And now I'm just kind of like, I think maybe it's not fine. I think maybe it's not okay. I think maybe there's a lot of problems here, and maybe season two wasn't that good. Um, and that sucks. It
Mm.
sucks to go from one extreme to the other. I really don't think Arcane wants me to like it, and I'm done trying to like it. Uh, it's fine. Um, I'm good, and I don't know if I'm particularly interested in reviewing the other League shows
Ooh.
because honestly, I'm. It's not even that I'm like, absolutely certain that they'll be. They could be wonderful for all I know. They could be the best television ever made. I think I've done this little dosey do enough over the last 3 years. I think I've gotten my fill.
Fair enough. Well, I hate to tell you, we're going to start reviewing The Last of Us starting from next year. No.
I
I
don't
mean,
even have HBO.
I mean, I was
That is
tempted,
HBO,
but
right?
it is HBO, yeah. Um,
I
it's
heard it's
just
really good.
I've also heard it was really good. I do have I have access to a friend's Now TV account, so I could just watch it there. So there is also ways of acquiring it.
Not that we would endorse such things.
No, of course, of course, no inflammation pipes here. Conflagration pipe, something like that. Anyway, right, it's been 2.5 hours. That's why I did call this. That's why I did call this stream. Two lads discussed the end of Arcane for a length of time. I knew that we were definitely not going to be fitting the 90 minutes for this one, so
Yeah,
we went a bit longer.
like I said, it's if I really wanted to, I probably could have gone on a little bit longer. Not without. I mean, I would need notes.
Mm.
But at this point, we've been talking for 2.5 hours. I've had to go to the bathroom since before this stream started, and I'm tired.
Fair enough.
It's time to wrap it up.
Yeah. So let's get out of here. yeah, we're just gonna say peace. If you enjoyed Arcane, please don't let us yuck your yum. But you know, if you've gone in there and decided it is the most perfect piece of media ever known to man, we do want a 500-word essay as to why you feel that's the case. Because it's not perfect in any way. It's not. And that's just going to be the way that it's going to come along, I'm afraid. But yeah, please provide your opinions, and we'll be happy to respond. And with that, me and Duncan are gonna sleep, I think.
Well, it's only 8 o'clock, so I'm not gonna go to sleep. But you're
well. I am absolutely going to. It's 1:45, so that's happening.
You clock out.
I absolutely will.
Waiting for a week. I apologize for keeping you up and also keeping you waiting.
It's fine. It's all good. It's all good. But we're gonna peace out. So bye.
Bye-bye.